this first news story comes to us from The Verge, written by Tom Warren. Xbox boss. This is a quote from the Xbox boss. You know who he is.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, there's two Xbox. There's Big Boss, that's Phil, and then there's the boss, which is Sarah. So.
Yeah, this is Big Boss. This is
okay.
Or would it be?
No, she would be
Phil
Big Boss.
Technically Phil would be the boss.
Yeah, and he would be the boss. Right. Okay. So then this is from the boss.
Gotta get our Metal Gear terms correct here.
I mean, Delta's coming.
This is from Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer. I think we should have a handheld too. End quote.
I agree.
That's a story. No. Microsoft.
I for a half second thought you were serious, and I was like, all right, well, let's talk about it then.
All right, let's talk about it. All right, let's move on to the next thing. No, Microsoft's Xbox chief Phil Spencer.
Spill Fencer? Yes, of course.
Yes. Shill Pencer has been dropping hints about a potential Xbox handheld for months now. Earlier this year, he said he was a big fan of handhelds after liking posts on X that mentioned the possibility of this new hardware. Now in an interview with IGN, Spencer says, I think we should have a handheld too. It's the biggest hint yet, and Microsoft is working on an Xbox handheld, something that's been long rumored. The future for us in hardware is pretty awesome. The work that a team is doing around different form factors and different ways to play, I'm incredibly excited about it, said Spencer. Today was about the games, but we will have a time to come out and talk more about platform. Pressed on whether an Xbox handheld would stream games or play them locally, Spencer dropped a further hint that Microsoft is looking at a true handheld gaming device rather than something like the PlayStation Portal. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what we need. Thank you, Phil. Have the games play natively. I like my ROG Ally, my Lenovo Legion Go, my Steam Deck. I think being able to play games locally is really important, said Spencer. And everyone said, amen. Earlier this year, Spencer talked about wanting a compact Xbox mode on a handheld gaming PC. I want to be able to boot into an Xbox app in a full screen, but in a compact mode, said Spencer in a Polygon interview. Like, I want it to feel like the dash of my Xbox when I turn on the television, except I want it on those devices. I suspect that what Microsoft is working on is an Xbox handheld that's Windows-based, but that has the ability to run Xbox games and the full Xbox dashboard. On the Vergecast earlier this year, I discussed my ideal for an Xbox handheld. It would run Windows at its core, but never expose this to you so it looks and feels like an Xbox console. But if you want to run Steam games or Xbox games, you can. I actually kind of like that idea. This is from Tom Warren. I like the idea of it being an Xbox handheld that's running Windows, but tricks you into thinking it's not. Because that's been people's biggest gripes with the Lenovo Legion and the ROG Ally is Windows sucks in handheld. It's horrible. Apparently.
Why don't they just use the same OS that they're using for the Xbox?
Right, exactly. Yeah, they just kind of port that over, or just figure out a way to basically, if it's running Windows in the background, because I think that's what the thing was saying, like to be able to still have the capability to download Steam games if you want to in the background or something. Mm-hmm. I think if they basically made a big picture mode of the Xbox app on your like, because there's an Xbox app on your PC. You can't, it's built into the Windows operating system. So basically have kind of like how Steam has big screen mode, have that for Xbox. So as soon as you boot it up, it automatically brings up the Xbox app. That's all you see. Like you don't even know there's anything in the background unless you start poking around. You're like, oh, okay, I can actually go back there and then open Windows if I want and start installing stuff in the background. Like that's what I think it would, kind of like how Steam even, like technically when you turn on your Steam Deck, it's opening Steam in like big screen mode, and then you have the option to go in your settings and go to desktop mode and open up whatchamacallit in the background, Linux. So right. Like if Xbox did something like that, that'd be awesome.
That was my big thing, is I wanted to make sure, because you know that if you're going to brand something Xbox, it has to be able to have a mass market appeal. And if you tell the average Joe that, oh yeah, you can also dual boot into Windows, and then you can get whatever game you want and download Steam and then get Steam big pick, they're gonna throw it away because they're just looking for an Xbox that they can take with them. So anything else
Right. It would just have to be like a fake. It would have to
counter-
be like a facade. Like it would just be
it'd
a
have to be-
facade
it'd be
where they boot
counterintuitive.
in, to 90% of the people, it's just going to be, oh, it's my Xbox. And then to the other, well, it'll probably be, you know what I mean, though. Like to the smaller portion who really care about it, it's going to be like,
Right.
oh, no, I can go into the options, hit this button, and now I'm in the back end and I can see my desktop and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's not a bad idea at all. But Adrian, what are you feeling though? This is a gimme, right? Like he basically all but confirmed it that there's something in the works, right?
Yeah, this is 100% something that they're working on. I have no doubt. I don't know. I mean, with how much it's been teased back and forth, I feel like we are definitely going to see it because there's too much, like you said, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's too much smoke at this point for them to just be like, oh, we were just talking about it. I think also, I think that might be why they canceled that little streaming box. Remember the streaming box that was supposed to come out that everybody was like, oh, that's a prototype for that. Because maybe you can just take your Xbox handheld and use it as the streaming box and hook it up to your TV.
Yep.
So
just dock it wherever you want. You can play natively or stream stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that probably was why that was axed, is because they're just like, let's just make a whole thing. Let's just make a whole unit and give everybody what they want. Now, how do you think that Valve is looking at this? You think they're sweating it all? Because if you give the hardcore people the option to have Game Pass and Steam OS in one handheld, I mean, I guess you could say that the ROG also did that, but it was also pretty expensive and it only stayed on for 10 minutes. So
yeah. If Xbox plans on holding tight on their grip of Game Pass to only be on their device, then yeah, I think Steam might be giving Steam a run for their money. But he mentions multiple times in these multiple interviews that they reference, like they not only does he reference their own handheld, but he references being able to also just access this lots of places. So it almost got me thinking, could he also be alluding to, yes, Game Pass is coming to these other places soon? Well, it's already on the Lenovo and on the ROG because they run Windows, but it could be coming to more handhelds and more places as like an app. I don't know. That's it. Almost gave me that hint of that. I'm not like, I'm in that kind of certain. Like if it was like not certain, kind of certain, really certain, 100%, I'm like in the kinda area. But that's what almost comes across to me. Like, oh, he's almost mentioning that wanting to be able to boot into the Xbox app in a full screen in a compact mode. He references how much he loves playing on his Steam Deck, on his ROG, all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, yeah, they could make their own handheld, but I wonder if at the same time, like, because again, if their business model is very much like the more subscriptions, the better, right? It's obviously not hardware and it's not been games, like it's subscriptions on Game Pass. So for them to make a native app for other places would be smart for them. So yeah, if they're planning on keeping it for themselves, Steam Deck might be in a little bit of trouble, but it would be wild based off of what their business model has been so far. That would just be kind of wild, I feel like.
Now, here's the alternate universe theory, right?
Yeah.
Do you think Phil ever reached out to Valve and told them, hey, Mr. Free Market, Mr. Gabe, if you make it accessible, people will come and buy it, and you don't need to gatekeep your stuff. Newell, if you believe in such a free market, then how about letting us put Game Pass on the Steam Deck? Do you think Valve will let them do it? Because I feel like they kind of have to, right? Because they preach that all the time. We're an open source platform. We're open this, we're open that. We don't gatekeep our stuff. So
no, I 100% think, like, again, even coming from Valve's side, it would be wild for Valve to turn that down based off of their general philosophy and how they run their business, and then And then yeah, it's probably one of the most like asked about thing. Like people ask about like it's constantly like, when are we getting Game Pass? When are we getting Game Pass? You know. So for Xbox, if Xbox actually reached out to them and they're like, and no, like in the public find out, people would lose.
It would make
minds.
me look at Valve different,
like
because you talk all this good game, and now here you are trying to make your thing proprietary. What's the deal? Is it open source or not?
Yeah, exactly. It would. I feel like that would totally go against everything that Steam Deck and Valve is about. So, Crimson actually over on YouTube asked just a second ago, as you were bringing that up, probably wouldn't happen. But what if Valve and Microsoft were to collaborate together? And yeah, I'm not sure exactly if you meant this, Crimson, but I'm taking it as, what if they collaborate together on the handheld? What if Valve was like, we've already made a great handheld, and Xbox is like, well, we got a great platform, so the next Steam Deck is almost like Steam Deck and Xbox together. I don't know. I don't know if that would work though, because Valve is very much like fair use, free, open source, all this stuff, which is why they use Linux. So Microsoft would very much probably be like, you got to put Windows on there or some sort of Windows type based program or
that
software.
It'll boot into.
And Valve's going to be like, no,
absolutely not.
Absolutely
what do you
mean? Make a Linux app. We're not going to force our people to use Microsoft junk, you know? I could see them.
They would call it junk too. That's the best part.
I don't. At first I was like, oh, maybe it could happen. But as soon as I thought of that, I'm like, I don't think that could happen. I don't think Valve would ever buckle on that and give in. I mean, if Gabe Newell wasn't in charge, maybe whoever's in charge might buckle and take the money and do it. But boy,
I really hope that somebody at Valve is ready, because one day they're going to have to run that ship without Gabe, and whoever they put in that seat is going to be it's going to be so important for them to share the same ideals that he had.
Yeah,
you know, because Valve could completely change depending on who's running it.
Yeah, it's kind of scary actually. They could go from being like one of the best companies out there to rock bottom. They could be the next EA if they're not careful.
Right. They honestly could. What do you mean we're the biggest store in the game? Now it's all proprietary. Now you can't take your games out of there. You know?
Yeah.
It's scary.
Scary to think about, especially when you have hundreds of games in your library, like some people like me, maybe. And all that's just locked down somewhere. Oh man. Yeah, concluding thoughts here. Yeah, I think it's a high probability Xbox is working on something. Is it with a one company in particular or not? I doubt it, but time will tell. We'll have to wait and see what comes up.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Samsung, because you remember they had that big collaboration with Samsung. What was it? 2 years ago.
They still have it. I just saw a commercial. Because I hate YouTube. Man, we had YouTube Premium for a little bit. Then when I got laid off, we canceled it, and we get so many ads. But anyways, I saw an ad
bad.
I saw an ad just recently. Or maybe that was even during Summer Game Fest. Yeah, I think it was during Summer Game Fest, they were doing a big push. So I think at Summer Game Fest, they showed an ad. And then on YouTube, I also was seeing the ad pushed as well. But like you can just stream, I think you can just stream Xbox like Game Pass through Samsung TVs. Like they've built.
Yeah.
So that partnership is still very much there. They've basically, that stream box that was rumored, like it essentially exists in all Samsung, all the higher end Samsung TVs. So that would be something that actually has some weight to that, because I mean, Samsung, they make some great phones from what I hear. I've never used them, but people love them. So move over the gaming side of things, might be onto something. Team up with Xbox. Ooh.
Just throwing it out there. Don't be surprised if it comes true.
Thank you so much for watching that clip from our podcast. Remember, if you want to watch the whole episode, the full episode, link will be in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. We got listener questions. We got more news segments. We got what you playing. We got a lot of fun things. So yeah, more than just the news. There's a lot more to the show that you should go check out. So remember, click that link in the description. Check out that full episode.